I wish I hadn't bought it. Why did you recommend it? There's been some news going around that Xpeng are aiming to bring in 1,000 G6 electric SUVs every month to Australian customers. Now, I should point out, the new version of the G6 is coming out soon. However, I own the Xpeng G6 and this news has been reported on. I'm going to tell you what the news is and then give you my take on it. I do have one opinion here. The new version of the G6, my version anyway, the long range version, actually has less range than my car. So the question is, would I personally, if I could choose to just trade in my existing car for the new version, would I actually do that? I've been thinking about this issue. Now, first of all, TrueEV, who are the distributor of Xpeng vehicles in Australia, they have announced that there is a shipment of another 1,000 Xpeng G6 units that have arrived are arriving in August. And this is part of TrueEV's plan to bring around 1,000 vehicles per month to help meet growing demand, said the CEO, Jason Clark. Now, got to say, on social media, which I try not to go on too often, I think it's not good for you. But anyway, on social media, there's been a lot of people saying they placed an order for an Xpeng G6 and they've had to wait an extremely long time. I'm talking many months. And a lot of them have, I think most people have waited. So this has been an issue. Getting enough stock has been an issue. Now, of course, here's the issue, right? In China, or in fact, most of the world, they drive cars in left-hand drive. So the steering wheel is on the left side of the car. So to make an EV in right-hand drive, it's not as hard as making an internal combustion car change steering wheel sides. There's more to do, but there still is a fair bit of work. And usually you need a separate production line. That's generally what would happen. That's been the issue here for Xpeng, not getting enough cars. Now, apparently they are now getting enough cars. And based on these numbers, 1,000 a month, Xpeng would become one of the best-selling EVs in the Australian car market. That said, we don't know the actual sales numbers as of yet. I have heard numbers. I mean, this is stuff I've heard. I don't actually know for sure, but I've heard from some people at Xpeng, not the actual hierarchy, but people that work there. Some months they've actually outsold BYD in some months. They just haven't published the data. Now, I can't even say if that's true. I've got no idea. I've just heard that. And I'm not talking about BYD as a brand. I'm talking about BYD as a rival models, for example. We view this as an opportunity to demonstrate what the next generation of EVs can deliver in both technology and driver experience, said Jason Clark, the CEO. Xpeng is at the frontier of AI and smart driving, and Australian drivers are responding to that in a big way. The G6 comes in two versions. A starting price for the base model, you could say, it comes with a lithium iron phosphate battery, costs 54,800 Australian dollars before on-road costs. So it's exactly $5,000 cheaper than the long-range version. The long-range version gets a little bit more power. It's got an NCM battery, so nickel, cobalt, manganese battery, and it has more range. So the base model, 435 kilometers of range from a lithium iron phosphate battery. The long-range version, 570 kilometers of range, and that's a lot of range. I mean, quite a lot. That's the version that I've got. I've got the long-range version. I find in the real world, range, I mean, if you're driving on the freeway, of course, with any EV, you're not going to get that amount of range. But I find it's actually achievable to get that WLTP range of 570 kilometers. It's very efficient. Probably average efficiency, I'm getting about 16, right? Kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's my average energy use. And I think that's really good in the real world because I don't drive slowly. I mean, I'm not crazy, but I don't drive slowly. If there's a traffic light, I'll be first off at the traffic light. Why not? Guys, I don't pay for electricity. My solar panels create it for me. So there's no reason to drive slowly when you take off at a traffic light. It's just no reason, right? To get to the speed limit as fast as you can, why not do that? Plus my boys and their friends love it when I do that anyway. So yeah, I do that. The fact that I'm getting that kind of efficiency when I drive like that, I think it's pretty good. So yeah, I've been happy with it. The price includes metallic paint, so you can choose any paint color. You don't have to pay extra like you do with many cars to get a paint option. 20-inch wheels, and I think it makes it one of maybe the best value EV on the market if you want an EV that has plenty of boot space. So boot space is really good. We've done some long range trips. We've now done 10,000 kilometers in this model. In a previous version that I tested out, I did 3,500 kilometers on a road trip. So in total, I've done about 14,000 kilometers in an Xpeng G6. And I can tell you one thing, when we recently went on a road trip with a Porsche Macan Turbo, they're about 200,000 Australian dollars. Very nice car, really, really nice. Great performance is wild. The performance just blew people's minds. But when we swapped back from that car at the Porsche dealership back into the Xpeng, my boys said, "Damn, this car's so much better, Dad." Both of them said the same thing. Now, I know you often feel that about what you're used to, but it is actually, I think, indicative of the fact that it is a really good car. It's got really good interior space and it's very practical. A lot of range. Handling is a good compromise between not being like a boat and not being too hard. So the older version of the Model Y suspension was a bit too stiff for most people. So the Xpeng, I think, does a really good job of compromising between handling that is good. It's still good around corners, but doesn't feel too hard. It doesn't hit bumps and just rattle your teeth out. The G6, well, it's cheaper than the Tesla Model Y by a fair bit. I think the most relevant comparison for the G6, the long range, is the Tesla Model Y long range. I know the Model Y long range is all-wheel drive, but I don't think most people care about that. And it's 70,000, so it's $10,000 more expensive, but you've got to pay for an extra paint color. So if you want to get an extra paint color, you've got to pay. The warranty is much shorter. The charging speed is much slower. Overall, I actually think the G6 is, the reason I bought it, I just think it's better value than the Model Y. The Model Y is a great car, but I think it's better value. Similar size as well. They're about 1 millimeter size difference. Plus, the big good thing I think about Model Y and the G6 is the weight. They're very similar in weight. They both weigh about 2,000 kilograms, which is between 300 to 400 kilograms less than rivals. That's a big difference, massive difference. A lot of that comes down to the way they make the cars. Both models, both the Tesla Model Y and the Xpeng G6, are made using gigacasting. That makes a huge difference. Massive gigacasting pieces, structural rigidity is improved, and the weight goes down, which increases your efficiency. Means, if you're going on a road trip or if you're paying for your electricity, you're going to use a lot less. Plus, you're going to get more range as well. Now, there's a lot of other rivals on the market: the Deepal S07, Leapmotor C10, the Geely EX5, which is a smaller car, of course, the Kia EV5, which is also a fair bit smaller and much less efficient, the BYD C-Line 7. There's, like I said before, the Model Y. There's a lot of rivals in this sector. There's new Zeekr 7X. But ultimately, am I happy with the purchase? Absolutely. And I've had a lot of people email me saying, "Sam, I bought the car because of you." And I'm thinking, "Oh, you bought it because of me? Well, I hope you like it. I hope I didn't disappoint you." And they say, "I love the car." And that's all I've heard from people. Feedback from people in the UK, from people in Europe, and from people in Australia. I've gotten similar comments from a lot of people. So I want to thank you guys for emailing me or letting me know that information. I appreciate that. I feel like if I can add value to you, then that honestly is one of the best things about this job. But people have been very positive, and I haven't heard anyone say, "I wish I hadn't bought it," or "Why did you buy the car? Why did you recommend it?" Absolutely no one's said that to me. So that's been great. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Bye-bye.